Let's log in.
Is there anybody there? Nobody there. Okay, anyway. So, unfortunately, I managed to get a few bits and pieces done in the office. But propose to do is just do a little bit of this, carry on with this, and if any of you got any questions who are there, please do ask. Other than actually, funnily enough, it's what I noticed today is that in spite of my reluctance to put chisel to stone this week, as soon as I've done it, it's felt like a kind of relief to do something, to actually make something. And that odd, kind of how odd it had that kind of resistance to making stuff, a resistance to doing stuff. I mean, this week's been a bit hectic anyway, so it's been really tricky to get anything done at all. But there is still that, in my normal day-to-day work, when I turn up in the morning, getting started seems to be the most difficult thing. I'd be interested if anybody has any strategy that they use to get themselves going. You could always, I suppose, email or text or post. I think this is going to Facebook as well as Instagram. Or post to Instagram any kind of ideas you might have about kind of getting going and dealing with that kind of. I don't know whether other people have it, but I certainly do it, and I certainly do, and I know a lot of people do that kind of background kind of anxiety about beginning doing something. Anyway, so I'm just going to get this actually. Get my dividers and do that and do that with Lily there. That's really cool. So we've got that. So what's reasonably clear at the moment is that, and also I want to re-establish these lines here. Yes, yeah, between the edges of the brow. There we go. We've got one there and one there. So what I'm going to do is I'll do that there, and then on this side I'm going to do the same. So you've got this, and it comes round like that. Let's do that. That's just a kind of beginning. Is what I'm going to do. Can you see that you got the high spot there, and then it drops down to here, and then it drops down to here. So I can do it. I'm going to kind of safely, or reasonably safely. The chicken's going. And then this one. I'd quite like to measure that as well. That's the inside one, because that's quite a nice point to, or relatively nice point to find, because there's almost a diagonal running from here to here. You see there's a kind of where the kind of shape of the nose is, from this side it's kind of heart shaped. You could go from that point straight down and that point straight down. So if I put that in the middle, there we go. Look, I realise now. What do I do with that pencil? Where is it? Is Tam's got a brolly over her shoulder because the weather's so nice, and what happens is she heats up. But more importantly, the telephone heats up. No, that's not true. The telephone does heat up, and then it risks stopping working. So what might happen eventually, because Ellen, and we were going to mention Ellen, because Ellen is she's the woman who is kind of the brainchild of, or no, it's been covered a couple of avenues, but she's encouraged us to do this, and she also looks after a lot of the social media. So I think, Tam, you're going to try and put a post in, a link in to Ellen's. She's a marketing lady, and she's been really helpful and really lovely to us, and helped us with lots of kind of technical support and help, and it's possibility that we'll move from Instagram to, well, she's setting up a YouTube channel for Greystone Carving Studio, so all these will be available on YouTube, and we will probably eventually just kind of move over to YouTube, because Instagram keeps on changing and doing my noodling, to be honest. But it's a nice, for the time being, it's a nice thing. But I think Tam is going to put a link to Ellen, so if anybody else wants some kind of help with their kind of social media stuff, she's very good at doing that kind of thing.
And marketing.
And she hasn't told me to do that either, so that's not, that's just something I wanted to mention. So can you see, what I want to do is that. Push that down there. One of the things, I don't know what I'm going to do about that. You see this here. The reason I'm not, although this is a nice bit of Chicks Grove, the reason I don't, and you get it in lots of limestones, there's a kind of what we call a sand pocket here. There's just a little pocket of material that just falls away. It just, it's just, and often it's surrounded by calcite, so you get a crystalline harder formation around it, and then in the middle you just get this kind of non-existent kind of just like crumbly, you could almost I think the inconsistency is what I call it, but people call it inclusions and stuff like that. I think that might even be a geological term, inclusions.
So Janola's asked, in the commercial world, how long will they allow you to complete this one?
In the commercial world, this is not long, really. If I wanted to knock, I'd be wanting to knock this out in about 2 days, 3 days maybe, really. But yeah, something like that. And what I would use is I'd use an air gun on it, and I'd use angle grinders on it, and I'll just knock it out really quickly, or quicker than I have been. yeah, much quicker. But I'm kind of trying to. This is mine, so. And it's going to be the head of a fountain, so present situation when I'm not in the workshop. I'm making excuses for being slow, aren't I? I've been really, really slow. Yes. So what I'm trying to do now is get that distance.
So,
We get the distance from there to the tip of the nose, and so I've got to push that back a bit more. What I'll do. So I think what happens is when if you don't get distracted and if you don't have lots of other bits and pieces to do, you get into it and it goes quicker. But I do have a tendency anyway to underestimate the time it takes for me to do things. I did I don't know whether it's gone out. It hasn't gone out yet, but I did a camel. And it took me about a week longer than I thought it would. It was a relief camel. It took me about a week longer than I thought it would. Kind of a third again, if not more. Not quite so deep this time. Getting there. So I'm just kind of going around here because I can look at that calcite. I'm cutting calcite now rather than well, it is all stone, but this kind of crystalline formation rather than a kind of oolitic formation. This is a Hey, you alright?
Got the vanilla and the milk. No,
What?
not milk, the water and the vanilla.
You got what?
Oh, in the cookies. Not current cookies and got the water and the vanilla.
You forgot the water and the vanilla.
So it doesn't taste of anything. Just tastes cookies.
Oh,
I just wanted to let you know.
oh, thank you. Hello.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How are you?
Fine, thank you.
It's rather beautiful today.
Sorry, you've been doing
That's
it,
You're right. It's the postie. So this could go back, but I'm just going to kind of establish it. Look. Ooh. Comes down.
Okay, Janola's just asked, have you had a work that was 3/4 done and you made a big mistake and had to start from the beginning again?
Yeah. Yeah. There's a grotesque gargoyle actually on Salisbury Cathedral, and I got the back wrong. I got the back completely wrong, and so it wasn't going to fit in the building. And then I drilled a hole in the face, and which was too deep, and there was no coming back from it. And then there was a rather uncomfortable discussion with the clerk of the works and the head carver in his office. Yeah, both of them very seriously asked me, "Can you do this?" And I went, "Yeah, I can do this," not really knowing whether I could or not. And then I did it, and actually, really oddly enough, I kind of, because I got terrified, and I think what happened was I was really frightened of making a mistake. So when I made this huge cock up, I suddenly went, oh, oh God. And then I made it, and I made it quickly. And actually the whole thing with the mistake took about as long as it should have taken to do the whole project. So, because I'd already done I'd already worked out all the puzzles, worked out all the shapes. So when I actually carved it again, the process was pretty quick. So it came out all right in the end. But yeah, it was a rather uncomfortable discussion about my capabilities at that point, because that was price, got to be done. So that was a costly mistake. That was a large bit of stone. Yes. So the short answer is yes. Yeah, it was a bit grim. make yourself go to work. You know, I've got to go to work. Whereas most of me was going, yeah, go run away. But yeah, no, that's all right. It worked out, and it's and the grotesque, the gargoyle. It's a gargoyle. I did that's the only gargoyle I did on Salisbury Cathedral. I did quite a few grotesques, but the only gargoyle I did on Salisbury Cathedral is a copy. Or no, it's in the 17th century style. So it was a replacement of a replacement. So the medieval replacement was placed in the 17th century, probably, and it was done by a carver in a particular style, and I was asked to copy that style. So yeah, that's what I did. But I think thanks to the help and encouragement and support of Jay Battle, who was the head carver there at the time, and I think that Colin Avery, who's an absolute superb mason, was the head mason there at the time. Yeah, a guy called Colin Avery, the head mason there at the time. And awesome mason. Proper mason. Yeah, I think he did his apprenticeship at Salisbury. So, because I established those 2 points there pretty well in the place that I think they're going to in the right place they're going to be, and I've got that angle there, I am basically coming round the muzzle and then just pushing that line right up to that corner. Right. That's not right. It needs to come down. Yeah. So this is where. So what did I do with that bullnose? There's a bullnose. This is where bullnose is really useful. So you see these, all this, there's no line in there. I mean, I know there's a line here, but basically what I'm doing, at the moment I'm carving as if that central kind of groove isn't there, and I'm carving up, I'm carving this area, so carving round here, and then carving down to here, and imagining that what I'll do is I'll carve that in afterwards. So I'll produce that shape down to this point, and this shape down to this point. Now, if you come back here, if I do that with a straight chisel, can you see? It leaves this kind of this, and if I was to carve down to there, it would leave a line. Whereas the advantage of using a bullnose is that you can get that kind of internal. Cool, look at that. Start carving that. Yeah. So I can put in. I'm leaving stone in there, so that I can put in. So I'm kind of following this valley, you know, way, yep, like that, you know. So that kind of valley goes like this, way up there. There. I want to try and get, can you see that? I'm trying to get that depth as well, so I can push that down. There you go. There. It's coming. So it does come quite quickly, and at the end it comes really quickly because you're so close to where it should be. And it's so easy to see the shapes by the time you get there. So, well, that needs to come down just a little fraction. And I'm going to push this around here, do the same on this side. So what I haven't done is establish this kind of blobby thing here. Blobby thing. This kind of fleshy brow. I've kind of gone some way towards establishing it there, and now I think that can go back as well, but I'm going to just put that in place. Kind of put that in place because we can always carve it out again. Like that, and then we have this. Around here. So I'm just kind of just mirroring that side, just kind of getting to it, getting it to a point, getting it to a stage. And what's interesting is I can see that side better than I can see this side. I can see right hand shapes, this right hand side of the book. I mean, maybe it's to do with but I tend to be able to be more confident about shapes on the right as on the left, and I think it's worth getting to know your kind of the way that you are with these things, because we all have our kind of blind spots and or have to work harder at getting to see certain shapes than other shapes. Like I don't know, I might have said this before, I got obsessed with the shape of this part of the mouth. Absolutely obsessed with this part of the mouth, because I was doing this face and it was just a complete mouth. It was a complete mystery to me. I couldn't work it out at all. And I just kind of I ended up looking at loads of people's faces. And what is interesting about this is that if you look at the lips, you've got this kind of concave here, and then that is a convex. That's kind of anyway, it might be completely uninteresting to anybody else. But that area of the mouth and the way that this lip fits underneath this lip, and the assumptions that we make about these shapes, you need to see through them, or and I just got kind of completely obsessed with this area of the mouth, and I find it absolutely, it's beautiful. I think it's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. How are we doing for time? Is that our lot? Well, look, thank you very much for those who've watched. I think Tam's going to try and put a link to Ellen's details, and is there anything else we need to know? I'm sure I've forgotten something about marketing palaver and all that, or carving classes. I'm starting to think about putting classes back on, but I have to set out a COVID-19 workshop strategy and how many students I can have, and also I've got a lot of students who, because they had everything stopped, I've kept their on credit. They've got credit with the workshop, so they will get priority as far as coming back goes. So I've got to work all that out. But it is happening. We are working towards getting carving classes back. And if you would like to come, and also in the autumn, hopefully, we will be possibility of having a kind of bed and breakfast, so that people don't have to pay for accommodation, but that will be all rolled up in the price of the course. But it may well be that we'll have smaller classes with smaller classes, and as a consequence they may cost a bit more. So thank you, goodbye, have a lovely week, and cheers, bye.